Hello and welcome to the Timeshift. I'm Chris Hall and this week we're reviewing the latest episode of Doctor Who entitled Arachnids in the UK. A very punny title indeed. Now this video is going to be spoiler heavy, so if you've not seen this episode of Doctor Who as yet, it's best to switch this video off now to avoid any spoilers. But for the rest of us, let us all dive headfirst into Arachnids in the UK. So, here we are yet again, and still no new intro for the Timeshift. I said last week to suggest some kind of forfeits I could do if I didn't end up doing it. One of the things I suggested was rewatch Kill the Moon, and I'm going to be honest with you, I did. Only this time, Kill the Moon was titled Arachnids in the UK. Oh! Yeah. Okay, so it wasn't that bad, so put your pitchforks down. This isn't going to be me saying that this is the new Kill the Moon, or it's Jump the Shark, or any other kind of bullshit YouTuber critic buzzwords. But if I am going to put my cards on the table, I really didn't like this week's episode of Doctor Who. But what about you, dear viewer? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Let me know in the comment section in whichever website you're watching this on, and I will get back to you shortly, either directly in the comment section itself, or towards the end of next week's video. Like I say, this is an episode which I just really did not like. It's an episode which pretty much fell apart midway through in the middle, and again, if I'm going to do total editorial transparency, there's been a hell of a lot of technical difficulties this morning. I was supposed to record this video about 10:30 this morning, and it's now 1 o'clock. There's been a lot of shit going on in the background, which has lent that I've had to resurrect a microphone that I've not used for maybe about 5 years, because the new computer that I'm using, for whatever reason, just is recording everything with very, very low quality audio otherwise. Maybe I plugged something into the wrong socket, I really don't know, and to be honest with you, I just want to get this over and done with and dusted off. I'm in a very foul mood. I had originally planned to do a big, exciting, funny joke. We had I Can't Believe It's Not Trump in this episode, and I was going to do a thing where I'd say, oh yeah, this week's episode we had this kind of presidential looking guy. He was kind of a bit of a loudmouth. He loved the colour gold. He loved firing people. He reminds me of this other character from the year 2018. He was this big time hotshot dictator kind of guy, a real populist. He had a weird haircut, a dodgy tan. He would tell people off and just say wrong at them and ramble about fake news. Yeah, I know who you're thinking of. Salamander from Enemy of the World. Yeah, that's kind of how the joke would have gone, only I'm in a foul mood at the moment, so that's as best as we're going to get to it, because this episode really did just fall apart midway through it. Pretty much as soon as we got to the labs, flatline, collapsing in on itself, crumbling away. It isn't Kill the Moon, but this is probably going to be the weakest episode of this particular series. I sincerely hope so. But for the positives, because there are positives to be had. The interpersonal stuff, again, fantastic. This stuff with Graham going back to his house and seeing the visions of his dead wife. Really great, fantastic stuff. Bradley Walsh still proving to everybody that he is an actor. He isn't just a game show host. That stuff was great. The development of Yaz as well, learning a little bit more about her and her backstory and meeting her family, great. I, like many other people, think that it would be nice if the Doctor had an Earth family again, kind of like she did with the Tylers. That'd be great to me. And of course, Ryan was there, as he seemingly almost always is at the moment. That stuff was great, and I'll discuss the performances later on in the story, or rather this particular episode, but yeah, pretty much as soon as we got to the science lab, that's when things started to fall apart from me. Now, in front of me now, I have a list of all my notes. These are notes which were scrolled out live. I used to just type it up after the show went out, but because of the weird broadcasting times, gotta kind of just do it off the cuff. And I'm going to ask you, dear viewer, did I miss something, or did they never actually explain why they created giant spiders in the first place? As far as I'm aware, the reason why they did it was so that they could farm precious minerals, that they could get all this spider silk and use it for industry and stuff. So they built the spiders for profit. Evil scientists making stuff for profit. Yet she's one of the good guys. Yeah, am I the only one that feels as though this episode kind of missed a trick? For the most part in this story, I felt twinges and echoes of the John Pertwee era, particularly Green Death, or Green Dead, or however it's supposed to be, or Green Day! John Pertwee meets Green Day, whatever. I got echoes of that, and it isn't as good as that, because I think that the messaging kind of got mistaken and muddled up, because I can't believe it's not Trump was there, and he's the evil bad guy because he likes guns? Yeah, the scientists that decided to make giant spiders for profit and then just threw them away in the rubbish like they were a used handkerchief, they're not the bad guy, but the guy who happened to just build a golf course above a mine shaft and fill the mine shaft with rubbish, he's the bad guy. Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm old-fashioned. Maybe I've seen too many B-movies recently because, you know, it's Halloween month, and if you look at some of my older videos, you know I used to do a lot of B-movie reviews, but I was half expecting a moment in the story for the Doctor to turn around to the scientist woman and just go, "Wait, what? You created giant spiders? Why? Why did you do that?" Or at least her acknowledging it. Any other era of Doctor Who, you would have just had a moment with the Doctor just saying, effectively, "Look, I understand your intentions were pure, but at the end of the day, you're messing up the natural order of things. You created a new life form, and at the end of it, not taking any responsibility for it. You're throwing it away in the garbage as though it was nothing at all. A living, breathing, sentient creature created just for profit. That's the same thing that you always do, you silly humans. You create these things and just throw them away as if they're nothing, and it's going to end up having a horrible repercussions for thousands, if not millions of people. You've changed the very landscape, the nature, the fabric of this world, and for what? For profit. And even then you're not willing to take responsibility for it. You've created a killer spider and just flushed it away as though it was nothing, and now hundreds of people could end up being dead, killed. And for what? Money. But she didn't. She just kind of went, I went on an adventure with Amelia Earhart, you know. Oh, my word. I mean, seriously, we just needed a moment for the Doctor just to say to her, "Look, I know you meant well, but really, no, you shouldn't have done this." Because otherwise, she's getting off scot-free. I think you then parlay that into the bit with the map. One of my least favourite tropes in fiction, fantasy fiction, is when they have the big map of the location where all the things have been going on, and then the lead character then connects them all up, and then they all intersect to show the secret lair of the serial killer, or Jack the Ripper, which serial killer, yeah, or the evil dragon, or the evil wizard, or the giant monster people. But in this instance, they didn't even intersect. There was just an empty space in the middle, which doesn't make sense. I mean, unless I'm missing something here, all those little incident markers on the map didn't really have any kind of rhyme or reason to them. They weren't numbered like a dot to dot. So there was any number of different combinations that you could have put together to try and create possibly where all these creatures were coming from. There's nothing to say that all these monsters ended up coming from the same place. They could have had a series of tunnels all over Sheffield. You could have crossed all those lines over in any other way and come up with another possibility where they were hiding. But no, it was in the centre of the map, coincidentally, and the Doctor just so happened to get it right because the story needed for it to happen. I could practically hear the story bending over backwards and snapping, trying to get that to work. Really, you couldn't just do the thing of, this line crosses here, that line crosses there. Oh, they're intersecting in the middle. That must, there we go. X marks a spot. Chip, chip, cheery ho. I'm the Doctor. I'm quirky. But no, you couldn't even do that. So we have a scientist character who, at the end of the day, is doing it for profit, doing it for shady, suspicious, unethical reasons, which just get shrugged off and doesn't really have much to go with. And then you've got, I can't believe it's not Trump. Look, I have no issues with political satire with Doctor Who. It's been a thing since the year dot as far as all that stuff's concerned. But if you are going to do a parody of Donald Trump or any political figure, you need to commit to it. This guy at the start of this episode, I thought that he was going to be this universe's equivalent of Donald Trump. He had the mannerisms down, he had the qualities of him, but then midway through the episode, oh yeah, don't mention Trump, I don't like that guy, he's a scumbag. Wait, what? You're practically the same! But you're like a cloned version of him! It's like they just took his back hair and... poof! There he is! Mr. Big as the evil McBusiness. I can't believe it's not Trump, man! Because, yeah, of course, yeah, sure! You commit to the bit, for fuck's sake. If you're going to do it, commit to it. Otherwise, don't bother. And his mere existence, the fact that we all know this guy's supposed to be Trump, then ends up fucking up the overall message of the story. This is an environmental don't pollute, don't throw shit all over the place, don't look after your giant spider monsters. But no, the end up takeaway thing is, fuck Trump. That's what we get at the end of this. Not we have to look after nature. We have to make sure that we don't do reckless things with the environment around us. You've got all these stories about fracking recently, about a fracking site not too far away from me, which may or may not continue working because of tremors it's created. But no, we're not going to talk about environmentalism. We're not going to talk about a raising issue. We're not going to talk about science gone amok in that 1950s kind of way it is. No, we're just going to go, naughty Mr. Trump, naughty, naughty, naughty. And then he doesn't get his comeuppance in the end, like all the evil antagonist guys in the series. And here's the real thing that really pisses me off about this story. The Doctor in this story is an absolute hypocrite, right? These giant spiders, whether you agree whether or not I can't believe it not Trump should have shot this spider or not, it was dying. It was suffocating. It was suffering. He killed it. Doctor Who, don't do that, but it was still going to die. All those spiders now in that safety room, they're going to die as well. They're either going to suffocate, they're going to eat each other, they're going to starve. Their final days, weeks, or however long it's going to be is going to be filled with absolute non-stop suffering. And at the end of the day, the Doctor okayed that. The Doctor said, yeah, let's lock all these things in a room for them to suffocate and or starve to death. They're going to spend their last moments on Earth in utter agony. But you know what? Don't shoot it. Don't shoot it because that's naughty. That's horrible. A quick death like that is terrible and evil, but letting them suffer, that's fine. I mean, seriously, what was the Doctor's plan at that point? She was just going to spray a bunch of vinegar to lure it into another room and lock it up, and then what? Unless the Doctor had some kind of magical MacGuffin tucked in one of her pockets, which is going to send all the spiders off to an alien world where they could all live in harmony. Yeah, they were all going to die anyway. It doesn't matter whether it's at the barrel of a gun or it's in constant pain and agony. Because if we're supposed to humanise and sympathise with these creatures, then the Doctor's plan, the whole scheme of locking them away and forgetting about them, just doesn't work. And no character called the Doctor out on her bullshit on this. The only character in modern Doctor Who that's really stood up and said, "You're kind of a hypocrite, Doctor," was Nordal. And the Doctor's response to it was threatening them. This is one of those awkward moments where you're just going to say, we're kind of beyond the silly montage with the M&M music of the Doctor punching people up and killing people. We're at a state now where the whole morality of the character is starting to come into question in a very uncomfortable way to me. To the point where if we have another big speech about the sanctity of life from the Doctor, bearing in mind this has happened either next week or the week after, yeah, we're going to have a few problems here, I'm dare to say. I did not enjoy this episode, not one bit. Okay, that's a lie. I did enjoy the interpersonal stuff with Graham and Ryan and Yaz, but you take that stuff out of it, you don't really have much else. It's a spider story which doesn't even stick the landing. It's really astounding. Anyway, let us dive into the performance section, shall we? And so, the performance section, where I talk about the performances. I'm going to be blunt here. About average, for just about everybody. They were let down by the script. It wasn't to do with the performances themselves, but Yeah, it really just goes to show what a difference a different writer can make. And this is the showrunner's own script, an own story. I'm not worried about the direction of this series at all, ladies and gentlemen. No, 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 no. As for a peripheral cast, Mr. Big, I can't believe it's not Trump. He did the business. He has his mum, did the business. Bodyguard did the business. Niece-in-law did the business. Our main cast of characters. Can we just stop having Ryan as being the quirky comic relief, please? It really gets on my tits. Yeah, sure, he plays grime music to summon in the spiders. Ha 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 ha! Pop culture reference. Hoo. Okay, it kind of went on for a while, didn't it? And this is the second episode on the trot where we have an extended musical sequence that I think kind of defeated the situation more than it actually added to it. Of course, Yas was fine, she was good, more development here. Maybe she's holding a torch for the Doctor, maybe not. We'll soon see. I don't know, in some ways I hope not, because I'm kind of just done with the Doctor and the companion having a bit of a connection to each other, a romantic connection. It's something I really detest about modern Doctor Who, but I suppose if it appeals to the fans, sure, whatever. The stuff with Graham again, fantastic, good, but it feels horribly out of place in a story about giant fucking spiders, but that's just about it. Let's now dive headfirst into the overview, where I have maybe a little bit more venom and bile to get rid of. And so the overview, in case you hadn't noticed, yeah, I really didn't like this week's episode of Doctor Who almost at all. It had some really great character moments, but aside from that, look, Chris Chibnall, he's great at character moments. He's made his career on it. He's won great critical and commercial acclaim with it. But this is not a police procedural broadcast on ITV1 on a Sunday night. This is a science fiction adventure series, or a science fantasy show if you're some kind of jerk-off. It is about adventure. It's about going to exciting new locations, whether it's a story like last week, which really speaks to the current situation politically in the world right now, or it's just some silly adventure where the Doctor and co just find an alien, save the day and go home with a few pop culture references and jokes thrown in. But at the end of the day, you need a coherent, solid story that actually ends. This week's story did not end, it just stopped. It felt as though there was a scene missing. My computer at the moment, it's a new machine. Sometimes there's a little bit of teething issues. And of course, because I was watching it streamed, sometimes if the connection drops a little bit, you get a frozen frame or two and you might skip a few lines of dialogue. That can sometimes happen. Thankfully, not so much, but as soon as that happened, I was rewinding it. I was whizzing it back to see if I'd missed something here. And so I'd blacked out because all those spiders are still fucking there. They're going to starve to death. They're going to eat each other. They're going to suffocate. And if they don't die, they're still going to be there until some prat goes down there looking for a spare mop head and then releases all these monsters again. And here's the other thing. You saw the map. You saw all these different incident locations. Who's to say that they even managed to get all the spiders? In the episode itself, they say there's quanty, winty, wobbly, William, billion, squillion spiders in the world. Who's to say how many of these giant spiders are still lurking in the distance? They're located all over Sheffield. There could still have been some lurking in some poor old fucker's garden shed that we're not going to find out or see about. But of course, no, it's evil, not Trump. That's the bad guy, not the scientists who created them all. And because of the power of Stormzy, they were somehow able to translate and transport all these evil monster mutant spider things into the little room where they could lock them away. Yeah, there certainly wasn't any that maybe got a little bit trapped in a room, or maybe down in the mine somewhere and they couldn't quite get there in time, or there wasn't some on some far-flung part of Sheffield. No, they managed to get them all, didn't they? Yeah, what about the one that's still in their next door neighbour's flat? Did we forget about that one? It's currently surrounded by vinegar, but I'm sure at one point or another it could You know, maybe risk going over the vinegar and maybe breeding, laying eggs, killing somebody. But no. Evil not trumps evil because he shot a spider that was already dead anyway. Unless this is all building up to something and the final episode or final story in this series is going to be a big moment with all the bad guys coming back. Just a colossal, massive dropping of the bollock here. I don't want to be that person that goes, oh, there's a plot hole, and there's a plot hole, and there's a plot hole. Oh, that character acted irrational and emotional. You know, human beings aren't like that. All human beings are a series of ones and zeros. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our thing. Don't take this seriously. It's just a satire. Cinema sins. Fuck off. That's not what I want to be. But still, unless this story is building something up and we're going to see these spiders again, they're going to be unleashed in some grand final thing, it's bollocks. And even if it is going to do that, even if they do come back and all this is building up for the big ending, it's still bollocks because this story doesn't have an ending. It has a stop. That's it. Last week, some people think that that's the same thing. We had time-meddling space racist, he gets snapped away into the past, and then we have the big emotional moment with Rosa Parks, great, but the big space racist is still probably out there somewhere. He could come back and still do evil things. You know, he's a time traveller. He could probably figure a way back home. And the week before that, you had evil McBusinessman in his time-travelling space-dimensional yurt. He's still out there. And of course, we're going to see the Stenza towards the end of the series. So all our villains this year, they're still out there. Yeah. Fuck you! Now, I sincerely hope that this is just going to be the down point of this particular series. And this isn't us getting a hint as to where this series is going to end up going down the road. Because I really don't want this to be the quality of Doctor Who going forward. I don't want to end up sitting here in a couple of years' time and saying, yeah, Arachnids in the UK. We should have known then that it was going to be all downhill from there. I really hope that isn't the case. But we'll soon see. Maybe this episode is just supposed to be a filler episode to keep the series going over, but this series now only has 10 episodes. 10 episodes in total. I was under the presumption that just having 10 episodes would mean that there'll be less filler episodes, that every single episode that we get would really knock it out the park, and if not, it was a damn good try. This week's episode felt a lot like filler, and if we've got filler in a 10 episode run of a series, we've got big problems going forward. Of course, let's not mention the fact that apparently going down to 10 episodes meant that the entire series is going to have episodes which are going to be about an hour long, but, you know, the fact that each episode this year has been about 45 minutes and not an hour, yeah, that's not marketing bullshit that's going to bite them on the ass. No. We probably just misunderstood and misread something, and we saw a leak that wasn't accurate. I don't want to be angry at Doctor Who. I don't want to hate it. I don't want to be in a situation where after this morning's technical difficulties I'm thinking whether or not I should have bothered recording this at all, but yeah, that's kind of where I was by the end of it. So, what do you think? Did you love this week's episode of Doctor Who? Did you hate it like me? Let me know in the comment section in whichever website you saw this on, and I'll get back to you. Either directly in the comments themselves, or in a future video, either towards the end of it, or if it's particularly good, towards the end of this its own particular video. I know I repeated myself there, but whatever. I'm just really annoyed. Maybe I'll look back at this and think I'm overreacting a little bit, but I really don't want us to be in a situation where we're practically begging and hoping that we're going to get a new showrunner soon. I don't want us to get that into it after only about 4 episodes. But whatever, we'll see where it all goes. Maybe next week will have improvement. I have no idea what next week's story is going to be about. All I know is that they're on a spaceship and there's explosions. Yeah, well, we'll soon see about that. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Oh, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment on all the rest of it. Click your bell. Goodbye.